100 years. How do you summarize a century of achievement? How do you condense the once unimaginable changes in science, technology, government, society, and the law? From the Model T to self-driving cars, hot air balloons to spacecraft capable of landing on Mars. From the Scopes monkey trial to patent litigation concerning living organisms. From women's rights to labor rights, civil rights, and LGBTQ rights, the world has changed dramatically over the past 100 years. How do you encapsulate the effect that the IADC has had on the law, society, and its members during those 100 years? How do you describe the leadership and contributions of its presidents, or the planning and hard work of the board of directors? What about the day-to-day management and industriousness of the executive directors and staff? How do you sum up the impact of trial academy directors and faculty on thousands of young lawyers? Or the contributions made to legal education by hundreds of moderators and speakers? What about the effect the Defense Counsel Journal has had on a deeper understanding of the law? And lest we forget one of the most important elements of all, how can you quantify the friendships and memories created through annual and mid-year meetings? When the IADC is mentioned, what stands out in your mind? Is it business development and professional growth? Informative CLE and speakers? Perhaps it's the power of amicus briefs with their impact on the development of the law. Then again, it might be your first-timer experience at a meeting. Is it something flashier? Maybe the theme parties and galas, the golf and tennis outings. What about the warm memories of family games? And if you were tasked with selecting a single location that epitomizes the IADC, what would you pick? Would your mind automatically hone in on our headquarters in Chicago? Or would your thoughts stray to meeting locations like Pebble Beach, Vienna, Scottsdale, or Rome? Perhaps the location is digital, our online communities, conference calls, or social media. The IADC is so many things to so many of us that it's impossible to pin down a single answer. But something that we can all agree upon: being a part of this organization has changed our lives for the better. Like so many other successful organizations, our story began with an idea. An idea in the minds of a few general counsels who met at the St. Charles Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey in September 1920. This tiny group had the vision of an organization of general counsel to cooperate, promote goodwill, and bring harmony. And thus, the General Counsel's Association of Accident and Health Companies was formed. By 1932, the now named International Association of Insurance Counsel met at the Greenbrier in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia for the first time. It was a marriage made in heaven, and the Greenbrier would soon become the favorite location of the association for many years. One of the attendees recalled the wonderful experience of participating in this meeting. To most in attendance, it was a thrilling adventure. Many young lawyers were attending their first convention, and the whole spirit was one of enthusiasm for the purposes or the organization and its future. This focus on the camaraderie between members provided a key building block for our association's transformation into a small, select organization of general counsel to a large, influential organization of lawyers representing all facets of the insurance industry. On September 1st, 1939, as our association closed its annual convention at the Homestead Hotel in Virginia, World War II broke out. At the conflict's peak, our association had 77 members serving in the armed forces. A wartime paper shortage raised questions about the continuation of the journal. but it was printed and served as a key channel in keeping members apprised of new legal developments. Membership continued to grow steadily in the post-war boom years, reaching more than 2,000 by the early 1950s. With this expansion came the need for a full-time administrator to better manage the organization's affairs, and Blanche de Hendon was hired as the association's first full-time executive secretary. And by the 1970s, the organization established a permanent residence in the city of Chicago. Early on, our association identified the need for legal education tailored specifically to defense lawyers, founding the Defense Research Institute, or DRI, in 1960. After becoming a strong research and educational arm, the DRI spun off to become a sister organization. With the aim of spreading our good fortune, the foundation of the IADC was created in the 1990s. This charitable arm of our association has grown substantially since then, providing educational opportunities and funding projects that support the rule of law across the globe. Recognizing that there was a need for greater training of young lawyers, our first trial academy was held in Boulder, Colorado in 1973. The Trial Academy quickly became known as the crown jewel of the organization, and from 1973 to 2020, furnished more than 4,000 young lawyers with the best civil advocacy training in the world. In the mid-1980s, our association was ready for another evolution in identity, approving a name change to the International Association of Defense Counsel, or IADC. This new title better reflected the changing nature of the work being performed by the association's members. The presence of international members and issues had begun well before the name change, but there was significant growth in the association's global nature as members and their clients and businesses became more interconnected throughout the world. Technology started to bring members together on a day-to-day basis. And as we progressed through a new millennium, the number of meetings around the world increased, being held in such diverse places as Singapore, Sao Paulo, and Vienna, with regional meetings taking place from Australia to Hong Kong, London to Toronto, Dublin to Seoul. With each passing year, our members were becoming more interconnected across more of the globe. Into the 2000s, the IADC maintained its focus on the education of its members, working to address current challenges facing the practice. Our association continued its tradition of academic publications with the Defense Counsel Training Manual and multiple editions of the Joan Fulham IRIC Privacy Project, while the Defense Counsel Journal transitioned with the digital age, becoming an exclusively online platform. In the last 20 years, the IADC has made rapid advancement in efforts to ensure that membership reflected those at the highest levels of the profession, with an increase of female, diverse, and non-U.S. members. The addition of these members has provided a well-rounded chorus of voices and fresh perspectives, allowing our association to reach new heights and to provide an even stronger network of colleagues and friends. Entering our 100th year, we continue to thrive, providing members with unparalleled resources for their law practices. But our association's true significance lies in relationships, those that have lasted for generations, and the new ones being built every day. Although members make valuable connections to help them with their work, our bonds of friendships go beyond the practice of law. Members share common experiences with friends who just happen to be lawyers, as well as their spouses and families. The IADC story is every member's story. It is a story of dedication to the rule of law, a story of adaptation to the needs of a truly global association, a story of friendship and family. After 100 years of excellence, we cannot wait to see what the next chapter holds.